Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop. Great day today. It's Saturday, so it's a Saturday short, but also it is a cleanup day here in the shop. And I gotta be honest, I am so happy to actually have this place in some kind of a working order. And it hit me, I was doing this sawtill build, and it was gonna be the Saturday short for this week. I'm gonna be honest, it's a nice little sawtill, as you can see here. It's just a couple of pieces of pine with a couple of pieces of cherry. I put some tung oil on the cherry. It looks kind of nice. I got 10 saws in here, but it really didn't materialize into a really good build. It's not that hard. What I decided I'm going to do is talk to you more about actually operating in a small shop here and all of the organizational needs you have to do to be able to work in a small shop like this. It's difficult, to be perfectly honest with you. And I know other people try to work in small shops like this, so I'm going to go over that with you. I'm going to show you what I've done to every piece of this shop. This shop has 5 separate areas in my mind. It has this bench area, and then it has the 4 walls. And last week, every night after work, I came in and I worked on a specific wall and cleaned it up. And I am about 90% done now. What I have left to do is figure out what I'm going to do with this bench and my Ryobi tools that I put under here. I'll show you that in a minute. And then I'm going to finish rearranging this tool wall, which will be several more Saturday shorts. We're going to do a series of Saturday shorts on fixing this mess. And the reason the sawtill comes into play here is, as part of this organization, I wanted a place to put my saws. They've been just laying in the corner. You know, they've been laying around horribly, you know, rubbing to one another, not staying sharp. A horrible way to treat saws. This is a good way to treat saws. In a perfect world, I would have a sawtill right here. But I don't have the real estate to even have this plane till here. I bump into these planes all the time. They're coming down, they're going to end up over here. So, in a nutshell, I'm going to show you how I set this room up. And I'm going to talk to you about the main things to do in a small shop. And the number one thing, guys, is you have to pay attention to the clutter. You can't have extra tools in here that you don't use. If you notice, there's some spots here on the tool wall now. I took a bunch of stuff off of this tool wall. A few more things are going to come down off of it, but for the most part, what I have up here is now stuff that I use. Like I said, these planes are going to come down. They're going to end up over here with the other ones. You notice the Doyle tools are gone. Some of the nut drivers are gone. Some of the mechanical tools are gone. It's not that I don't use them. I love the Doyle tools. They're in the basement. I use them mostly on my machines, and that's where the machines are. So that's where those tools went. I got them out of here. They weren't really needed here. I put a set of Cobalt that I had up here because I do use, you know, pliers and such occasionally in here. So I wanted to have a set of them. And, you know, it just worked out to put the Doyles downstairs because I use those on the machines more often. So as I go through every room, every corner of the room here, I'll explain all of that. But clutter is the number one thing, guys, and organization. As I talk about each wall, I'll explain the organization and it'll make sense to you. I'm going to show you a picture right now of what was in this room, and you're going to laugh. My living room is a total mess right now because everything that was in here that's no longer in here is in my living room. So take a look at this picture. You're going to laugh. Okay, I figured it's a good idea to show you about 1 minute of the build process for the sawtill. I took the cherry and the pine and dimensioned it all to 13.5 inches, which is the size of the cubby, and then I ripped the cherry to the best dimension I could get out of that. Those 2 boards, they were kind of beat up and they had a crack down the middle, so that's the highest I could make them. I then took them to the jointer and ran them over the jointer to get them nice and flat. At that point we went upstairs and we did the glue up. It's a very simple glue up here, guys, and I used the Pittsburgh Harbor Freight ratchet clamps, which I am using to show you guys how they work out. So far so good with those things, guys. I kind of like them. Then I took a saw and cut 10 curves for the 10 saws I'm putting in here, and here's the finished product. Okay guys, I just put all the saws in the cubby, in the sawtill that I installed into the cubby hole. And that's how they're going to look I am very happy with that. I have 10 saws in there, which is quite a bit of saws, but they're all very useful. I have a pair of panel saws, a pair of large tenon saws, a pair of smaller carcass saws, a pair of dovetail saws, and a pair of Japanese saws. So that's the type of organization we're going to be doing in this room today. Now I'm going to move the camera around and show you each wall of the room. So let's do that. Alright guys, wall number 1 is the wall directly across from where I stand when I am at the bench. I am currently standing right behind my bench. As you can see, I'm right here, and I'm right next to the camera, and this is what I see when I'm working in this room. You can see that in the left-hand corner of this wall I have some lumber storage, and below the table you see in front of you there is a couple of boxes with my lumber offcuts. I want to tell you, for organizational needs, this is the most important thing for this wall. You can't let the lumber get away from you. I try to organize those two offcut boxes. One has pine and plywood in it, the other has hardwoods. I go through them from time to time, guys, and I have to throw the smaller pieces away. You can't let the lumber get out of control. I know we love storing and saving our lumber, but it really can take its toll and take over the room. The rest of this wall is pretty simple. The the drill bit cabinet that I built is hanging on the wall conveniently right next to my 8-inch Harbor Freight drill press. To the right of the drill press we have 4 charging systems, 2 Ryobis, a Hercules, which is the Harbor Freight brand drill I've been playing with lately, and my little Makita 10.4 volt system. Most of the Ryobi tools will be going downstairs, but I do keep a couple chargers up here. I have 3 downstairs now. I actually own 5 Ryobi chargers and many batteries. Next to the chargers is the Rikon 10-inch bandsaw. That is an awesome little tool, and it works very well up here to allow me to do cutting in without going to the basement. You know, obviously I'm not running huge rip cuts through that thing. It's a 10-inch bandsaw, and I normally keep a fairly small blade on it, so it's more of a curve cutting machine. And that is it. There is a little shop vac under that table as well. You see a tripod head on the wall there, right in the middle of the wall. That is where I mount the camera when I'm filming myself here. So normally there's a camera sitting on that tripod head. And I got a couple of speakers on the wall up there to listen to some music in the ball games when I am working in here and not filming you. The big thing to note with this room, with this wall, guys, is the lumber. Don't let the lumber get you in trouble. Keep the lumber under control. All right, wall number 2, I can kind of get in the picture a little bit here. As you can see on wall number 2, it's all about sanding. There's a door here, so the door opens and takes some of this wall up, and then there's a closet here. So this wall really only has about a 5.5 foot area that it can use. So what I have is I have a workmate here that my original bench's top is just sitting on. And on that I have my 3 sanding systems, my little Harbor Freight 1-inch belt sander, the Harbor Freight 12-inch disc sander, and the rigid oscillating sander. Pretty much all sanding needs happen right here. This particular tool will probably end up in the basement soon. I don't need both of these here. Alright guys, this is the wall that I did the most organization work on in the last week. Like I said, I spent a day on each of these walls. I spent 2 days on this mess here. This cubby system, it's a love-hate relationship for me. Honestly, the cubby system, when it's clean and semi-organized, it's wonderful. When it gets overblown and stuff gets piled up everywhere, it becomes a royal pain in the butt. You can't find anything in any of them. You can see our sawtill here. It's really nice. I screwed it in from the bottom, so it is fully mounted in there, and those saws are well protected now. I'm very happy with that. Throughout the course of the next month, I'm going to be building more tool storage devices like this one, basically on the top of here for the planes. I'm going to figure out a way to hold the planes. Right now you can see across the top of this bench, or this cubby, I have all of my hand planes and a couple of other tools. It's kind of unorganized right now. That's one of the new, there's going to be some new storage needs put there. We're going to build some cubbies to put the planes in. Other than that, the cubbies are fairly organized now. This top left corner one is where my pens, papers, pads, tape measures, glue, knives, a little magnetic tray with screws in it. It's where all the things I just reach for are. The rest of the cubbies have tools that I use, going from top to bottom in order of most used to least used to keep it organized. I have 1, 2, 3 open cubbies still. So I have a little bit of room for growth here. All right, so let's go back to the last wall. Hey everybody, here's the final wall. It's the one behind me. It's the one you see all the time. This is a little bit different angle so that I can get the whole wall in for you. Over here in the corner, the closet door opens. You can't quite see the closet door that's on that wall, but I keep that area clean. There's a broom just sitting in the corner next to the window. You can see the window here. On the ledge of the window, I have all my bench dogs and things like that go in these dog holes. And up here, I have about 20 spring clamps. And then we have the tool wall. Guys, the tool wall is a work in progress. This is the part that we'll be doing over the next, say, probably 3 or 4 Saturday short videos. I'll be doing pieces of this tool wall, getting it organized. Having your tools at hand and able to reach right away is essential to being able to work quickly in a small shop like this. You know, bigger shops where you have big, toolboxes and cabinets everywhere, it's a lot easier to just bring all your tools in and just put them all away somewhere and have them where you need them. In an area like this, you gotta kind of be a minimalist and get down to the just essential tools. And I got a lot of tools in here. I am not a minimalist by any stretch of the imagination. Anybody who's a minimalist would have half of these tools, a tenth of these tools, and have plenty of room. But to have everything I have in here and be able to function, you gotta be organized. That's what this video is really about. We're gonna be redoing this entire tool wall and make it look good. So that's upcoming. The last thing I wanna show you is that corner right there, which really is part of the wall that the cubby systems on. I didn't show you that my clamps are hanging there. Those clamps, I did that clamp rack video about a year ago. I have over 50 clamps right there in that little section of wall that's only about 30 inches wide. So that's a really good use of space. That's the type of organization we need to strive for here. We'll move on to the bench next, guys. And the bench, I didn't move. I just took a picture of the cubby holes I have below the bench. So I'm going to show you that picture now. Hey guys, okay, so that is this room and how I've organized it so far. Like I said, it's in much better shape than it was a week ago, but there's still more to do. Working in a room this small is difficult. To get yourself organized, you really have to minimize the clutter. That is the #1 thing I can tell you. Clutter could be lumber, clutter could be tools, clutter could be just too much stuff splattered up here. I got into a habit of bringing a tool up from the basement, using it, and then just saying, what the hell, and throwing it up here on the wall. I'm getting out of that. The wall is going to have just the tools I use almost every project. And the cubby will have the rest of the tools that I use on a less frequent basis, but use enough to keep up here. Other than that, everything's coming out of here. That's the only way I can keep this place usable. So I hope that makes sense. Look forward to the next couple of Saturday short videos being about the tool wall and getting it properly organized. And I hope if you're working in a small shop, some of this makes sense to you. I hope you enjoyed the saw till build, because we'll be doing some other little builds like that to organize our tools. And as always, if you like this video, please hit the like button. If you have not subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. And as always, have a great day. We'll see you in the next one.